What's up, YouTube fans? Today I'm reviewing the Transform and Rollout Agent Meister, their version of a Masterpiece Jazz. This thing has a long story kind of behind it. So originally the name they had for it was Hova, H-O-V-A, and they announced this. It was actually one of the first Masterpiece Jazzes that were announced, and I think people were really excited because there was no jazz at the time. But then for whatever reason, it just never came out. I think it's been 2 years, maybe over 2 years, from the time that they put this up for pre-order until the time it was actually delivered. It's over 2 years. And so I think people kind of gave up, thought the project was dead, and it wasn't going to happen. In the meantime, I think they finally got somebody to back them. So this is a brand new company. They don't... and it's up to you to figure out what do you think, where is this coming from. My personal opinion is this company wanted to make this figure. They didn't have the capital to get it moving, so they got another one of the bigger companies, maybe a DX9 or some other company, probably not Fansoys, but maybe a bigger company to help back them and get them going. And get this thing sold. But I think that was part of the issue, is they just couldn't get the funding to get moving. But they did finally roll it out. They did change the name, and now it's Agent Meister. They're not shy at all about using any of the trademark names. So if they got Porsche here, 935 Turbo, which if you have any other third-party figure, they don't ever say what kind of vehicle it is. It just looks like it, but they don't actually ever say it. And then on the inside, you're going to see this guy actually has markings of the sponsors, the real sponsors. They're not like Mortini, like on here's and we're gonna compare it to this guy. But here they had Mortini, M-O-R-T-I-N-E. It's actually Martini Racing. So they changed it. On this one, they didn't. They just kept all their stuff. Maybe they're not worried about copyright infringement for whatever reason. But here's the box. Pretty plain Jane. Nothing really. A couple product shots there. On the back, you got some of the features. You got his grappling hook, the speakers, and there he is in robot mode, vehicle mode, and then with his blaster. And here's another image on the side. So pretty simple box, not much on it. Choking warning on the bottom. Can't really tell what company this reminds me of. It's maybe DX9. I don't really even know. So I'm going to show the packaging. I haven't been showing it recently, but because this is a new company, I kind of want to show how it's packaged. So a very simple box. Artwork's not amazing or anything. And then inside you get what looks like a bent. Oh, that's annoying. the booklet is bent here. Oh, okay, it's a fold out. So here are the instructions. Let's see. Looks like it starts here. So they take you from vehicle to robot mode, which it comes packaged in vehicle mode. Interesting instructions. I don't know. This reminds me of like a BB7 or one of those knockoff companies that, the way they made this. It just seems a little cheap. It's not amazing. It's not horrible, but it's not amazing. Here's a collector's card, really, really cheap. It's okay, it's not great, but it's just very thin. It's got a cool look to the front. I mean, it's not bad. It says 2018, so I guess it really is rolling out in this year. And here's the back of the card, some product shots. Love the culture of Earth. Transformed into a Porsche 935 Turbo. So they're not shy about that. The fact this is a Porsche. Here he is, comes in a little clamshell like we used to get back in the day. Now we're getting, styrofoam packaging. Let's get all this stuff out of the way. And here we have the figure. And we got some accessories. We'll go through all of that together. But here he is. First impressions. It feels kind of light. And it looks cool. It's a good looking vehicle mode. Let's just, since we have him here, let's take a look. Wow, he's way bigger. He is gigantic. He's massive next to Toy World. Wow. I don't know why he's so much bigger. Let's just be realistic here and actually measure. So from the end of the spoiler to the front of the car is about 6¼ inches. Toy World's is 5 7/8. So much longer. And then width-wise, let's go to the widest part of the car. It's about 3 inches, the widest part. And this guy is about 2 3/4. So yeah, he's bigger in every. Oh, is he taller too? Oh my gosh. So he's about 1 inch. I don't know, 1 7/8 tall. On this guy's about 1 3/4. So he's a little bit bigger in every single dimension, which is interesting. Let's just bring in another Masterpiece car for comparison, just so that we can take this guy, you know, at face value. So here he is with Masterpiece Blue Streak, and you can see he is definitely wider. And this is supposed to be a wide car, but when you look at the wheels, that's where things kind of seem like they're off. Those wheels are huge. Yeah, they're even bigger than this guy. And I mean, he did have wide wheels, but something about this just looks a little too big. Anyway, so there he is. There's some scale comparisons. We'll just get this out of the way. So let's take a look around this figure for a second here. So here's where you can see they're using the traditional sponsor logos. So you got Martini here, Martini Racing. You got Shell, Bosch, Bilstein, Turbolator. Oh wow! I'm gonna have to zoom in on this because this is interesting. They've got the Porsche logo on there. That's unbelievable. I think these guys might get sued. These guys might get sued. I haven't seen any third-party company take a shot at really, you know, making it have the logos and look like, you know, even call it a Porsche. And it's not officially licensed. You know, if you look at the box, it doesn't say it's officially licensed anywhere. So I think this might come off the market if they care. I don't know what kind of sales these guys are going to get into, but if they care, they might take this off. Another weird thing is the rear view mirrors. So they're really, really tiny. And I know they were tiny on this car, but they're like extra tiny here. And this one looks like it's the right size. You know, it's very compact and it's very close to the car. This one's a lot heavier, by the way. Let's take a quick wait just so we can talk about that more intelligently. So here's Toy World. Toy World is about 9 ounces, or for my international folks, 251 grams. And this one, the Transform and Rollout, is 164 grams, or 5 3/4 ounces. So much lighter, a lot less die cast. I can actually feel it in the figure itself. This one just was die cast everywhere. You know, this whole hood piece, the doors, these back pieces. I mean, everything on the top was die cast. This one, I don't know if I feel any die cast. Huh. I'm not feeling any die cast. In terms of details, you do have a little bit more painted detail up here. You definitely have this Porsche logo, which I think they're going to get in trouble for. You have some painted silver pieces here. I think those are the hood latches that keep the hood down. What else? You do have this painted triangle, which I think that was a signature for Jazz. On the side here, you do have the painted stripes, you know, the livery from Martini Racing, so that's nice. In the back, you do have taillights. So you have painted taillights. This one had translucent pieces of plastic, which I think I preferred. This one has the painted red, or it's like magenta almost. Magenta and silver. And that's okay. But again, you've got Martini's actual logo, and then it says Martini Racing instead of Martini. You have an exhaust here, which is pretty cool. And here you got the wheels. The wheels are really shiny chrome. I don't know if that's coming across camera. They're very shiny chrome. Here's the tires. Now, the front tires are, in the real car, they are thinner than the rear tires. You know, these back tires are supposed to be massive, but for whatever reason here, it comes off strange. The fact that these front tires are so thin. Then the tires themselves don't have any treads, so these actually have treads on them. These are slicks, and maybe these were slicks. Maybe this car had slicks on it because it was a race car. You know, it was meant to go on the track. But I just like the look of the detail of this. It just seems more masterpiece to me, especially the wheels, the actual design of the wheels. This one just kind of looks a little bit cheap. Oh, it even says Dunlop. My God, they really don't care about copyright here. So yeah, so there's the car. There's not much else to say about vehicle mode. It is pretty solid. It's not, you know, coming apart or anything, so that's good. I think you can mount these in vehicle mode. So let me take a look at that. I think you can just put them on like this, and they sort of just, they've got little tabs right here. Let's get this down. So you can slide those onto the rear of the. And then you get that, which is pretty cool. That's a nice feature. I think it looks good. The Toy World ones never really attached well. They just would kind of did attach to this rear bumper, but they just weren't very solid. These are pretty solid, and they've got nice paint on them. We've got the blue, metallic blue, and then the chrome silver, and that looks pretty good. Not too bad. Oh, it does roll well. I didn't talk about that. But just like Toy World, it does roll well. This one's really heavy, so it rolls really well. But this one also rolls pretty smoothly. Obviously much lighter. Another difference I noticed, the front, the lights are clear white versus the blue. And I can't remember which one is more accurate. Let's put a image of the G1 Jazz vehicle up in the corner so we can do a quick comparison. And then we'll also have this guy here. And we'll see which one looks better. Obviously this Autobot logo, I added that. It did not come with the figure. So you'd probably want to put one of those on here too. But I think I really like the way this looks. I'm not sure if this has improved at all in the looks department in terms of accuracy. The hood, or the front of the hood, is a little bit more elongated, it feels like. It's just kind of a little bit more yeah, it's just longer. It comes forward a little bit further, but the front design is like almost identical. So that's really it for vehicle mode. I am gonna shoot the transformation on camera. So with that, let's get this guy transformed into robot mode, and we'll be right back. And here we are in robot mode, guys. And if you watch the transformation, there's definitely an issue here on the shoulders. They're very hard to get tabbed in properly. I think it's because these pieces, and they also feel a little fragile. Like, I don't know, I felt like I was going to break them. The whole figure is like that. It's just very plasticky, and it feels like it's going to break. I think these feet are die cast. They do feel die cast, but that's it. Just these feet. The rest of it is plastic, and not the best plastic at that. And then these shoulders, they just felt kind of, I don't know what how to describe it, but they just felt like Hasbro cheapness to them. You know, it was very hard to get in. It wasn't perfectly molded, so it kind of didn't fit right. And you kind of got to be careful. But with that being said, here is Jazz in all of his glory. And my first impression is it feels a little bit cheap. It feels a little bit like too much like a toy, not like a adult collector piece. The legs do clean up very nicely. So let's bring in Toy World's Jazz here. Toy World's I forgot his name. Whatever his name was. Now, he was remade by Zeta, and they called him Jazzy. But this original figure, wow, I can't even remember his name. Whatever his name was. His legs didn't clean up as well on the back. He had these spoilers kind of sticking out. But overall, it wasn't too bad. A lot of people complain about this piece behind the head. You had sort of that thing sticking out in the middle. And, I don't know, some people didn't like that. I don't really mind it. You can just kind of forget about it. But that's kind of the difference here. And look at the height difference compared to these two guys, you know? I don't know why he's so much shorter. Let's bring in another robot for comparison. Here he is with the Takara Tomy version of Prowl, and he is a little short. He comes in a little bit short. I'm not sure why they made him this height, but it's a little, you know, it's a little off. It just feels kind of short. I do like the size of the Toy World. The other thing is the chest. This chest is huge. So if you look at the Toy World one and you compare that, it just is a lot bigger. So it sort of sticks out in the front. And that kind of makes it look like a toy. I'm not saying Toy World is a better company. What I'm saying is I prefer their version of Jazz. It just feels more premium. It feels like an adult toy. This feels like you know, a kid's toy. And in some ways it looks like a kid's toy, especially this front end here, this chest piece. It just doesn't quite, you know, scream masterpiece to me. And that's what I think is missing here. Had they been first to market, I think they could have, you know, kind of carved out a niche. But again, this is a first release for this company. Another thing is these wings. They can fold down and fold away, so you can take off the back here, and you can fold these in. You can kind of fold them underneath, and then you can peg this back in, and it sort of hides those wings away. So if you wanted to have them sort of tucked away, you can. I prefer the winged look for Jazz, so I think these should be out. And that's just my preference, my opinion. But it doesn't. There's no. You can pull them out on this joint right here, so they go outwards a little bit, and then you can get them up a little bit more, but they don't go out very far. They don't have very, you know, a lot of articulation, so that's about as high as you can get them. With these Toy World ones, you could get them, you know, any position you wanted, and I like the look like that. I think that's more of an IDW look, but I like that look. I like the wings being able to go up and out, and these, they just kind of go straight. I mean, you can put them back like that, but they just don't have that same feel. Let's take a look at his weapons and all that stuff. So here is his handgun. It looks like it's painted, just a gray, and it does have the traditional tab system where you can tab it in the hand. Okay, and there you go. There he has his gun. And the gun is fine, but I just, you know, when you compare with, let's say, Toy World, for example, here, the white paint and the silver accent, and it just kind of fits in here. Now, his hands weren't great, and he also had this gap here. That was one of the complaints that people have with this figure is, why couldn't they just have a panel to cover up that gap? But even with that gap, I still feel that the Toy World just looks a little bit more professional. And it feels a little more professional. It's got that metal. It reminds me of G1. Let's get this guy out of here. It reminds me of the G1 figure, you know, with all that metal, that die-cast metal. And I think you can also get these on here somewhere. So you can basically just plug these in right into here to these screw holes right here in the back of the arms. It's a little bit tough to get to, but you can do it. And then you've got a really nice look. Now, the Toy World version of these did not peg in to the arms, so you couldn't get them. Now, that looks pretty cool. I think that's a cool accessory to have. The fact that they tab into the arms and they're articulated with the arms, that's a good idea. There you go. So there's that accessory. I think that's smart. That's a smart way to do it. The Toy World one didn't really fit on the arms. There wasn't really a way to attach it. But you could put it into the hands, and it looked kind of weird in the hands. He doesn't come with a shoulder cannon, like Toy World's. It did come with a shoulder cannon. I think that is an iconic thing. Whoops. And this shoulder cannon always used to just fire off very easily. So that was one of the issues, is it shoots off and go grab that. So it is a kind of a hair trigger here, but I think you need to have the shoulder cannon for this guy. It's one of his iconic weapons. Without that, it doesn't look right. And this guy comes with this, which is nice. So you do have the grappling hook, and I think you've got to take this off. Let's see. Yeah. So you got to close the hand up, and then there's 4 pegs, and there's basically 4 holes here. And I think it attaches there. Let's see. Maybe I have it upside down. There you go. And now you got his grappling hook. So that's pretty much the same as the Toy World one, right? You fold this in, and there's 2 pegs on the back of this one that peg into the back of the hand, and then there you have Toy Worlds. Now there you go. So they both come with it. This one at least comes with the string, which is nice. I think they at least give you a string that looks okay. I put kind of a string that I got later, but I really do think you should include the shoulder cannon. But these are nice. I definitely like those. You also get the painted blue. Now let's put up an image of the G1 cartoon Jazz, and let's take a look at these two. I think this is pretty close to the G1 cartoon, especially the blue right here. This one was kind of missing that. The Zeta Toys showed an image where it had blue, but then when I got the actual Zeta Toys Jazzy, it didn't have the blue. So that was sort of disappointing. They advertised it and then actually do it in the production version, which kind of pissed me off with Zeta Toys. I sort of was ready to jump ship from Toy World to Zeta, and then that happened, and I was like, well, maybe they're not that good. So let's go over articulation. Let's just get all these accessories off for now, and we'll take a look at articulation. You do have these on joint going in and out, and you can also fold them down and back if you don't like them. I like them out. The shoulders, they go all the way up to here. It's on a rotating swivel. But the screw is actually rotating too, and you can see the screw. So it does feel like this is kind of like their first try at this. That's what makes it feel kind of not very professional. Like the plastic and stuff is a little bit cheap. But you do have a nice rotation all the way around, and it goes all the way up to there. Rotation at the bicep. A single jointed elbow gets you up to there, 90 degrees. Rotation at the wrist. Single pinned hand at the base knuckle. The head is on a ball joint. Yes. Is it a ball joint? Yes, it is a ball joint. So you get all the motion you want. They did use the translucent blue plastic instead of painting it, but it's a nice light blue versus the Toy World's one, which was a little too dark. I keep meaning to paint this thing, but because the light piping isn't very good, it tends to be dark. I'd like to paint that, like a very metallic blue at some point, whenever I get metallic blue paint. But this one does look a little bit better in terms of the head, and the face sculpt is not bad. Pretty good face sculpt there. Yeah, I think they did a good job with that. Moving on, you do have no waist articulation, unfortunately, just because of the way it transforms. It doesn't really have a way to fit that in. Not a big deal. Just put this back the way it's supposed to be. Wonder if you release this, does that have a waist articulation? Oh, it does. I'm sorry. So scratch what I said. It does have a waist articulation. It's just pretty tight. There you go. It's all the way around. It does kind of break the sculpt, but it's fine. Get nice articulation there. This front flap flips all together, just kind of like the Torwald one did. And these slide flaps do up and up. Oh, look at that. You got speakers in there. That's kind of cool. I didn't even notice that till just now. That is a cool effect. So there you go. Nice speakers in there. But that allows you to put the legs all the way up to there and all the way forward. And back to here. It's hindered by this back piece. The back piece does not open up. I don't believe. No, it doesn't. But I do like the speakers in there. That's nice. Let's close that up. You do have a rotation at the thigh. You have a 90-degree bend at the knee. It is hindered by this, but so you pretty much get up to there and that's it. No rotation at the knee. You do have a ankle pivot or ankle tilt. But you do have the articulation. It's not a lot, so if you get a really wide stance or you get a really forward stance, you can't bend this down. The Torwald one had a ton of articulation, so you could go all the way up to there, and it would break the sculpt. And then you had a little bit of toe tilt here, but you had plenty. Oops. You had plenty of articulation, so you could go back and forth all the way like that, and all the way in and out like that. So it was a very, very good design. The only thing that would kind of broke the sculpt was this back window here. It sits on the back of the leg. But that's one of the things I loved about this Torwald version was the articulation was awesome. All right. Let's just set this aside for now and come back to this guy. That's pretty. Yeah, you can see this arm has already come out, and it's not the best connection. I do have some nice paint down here, but if you look at the Torwald one, you had this chrome, this gunmetal shiny paint with shiny plastic. This one is like sort of a matte finish. I do think this one looks a little more professional, in my opinion. And then just the feel of the robot itself, the Torwald one just feels a little bit better. The other thing is these, I don't know, they just are kind of, they're okay. But this feels like something that should have come out 2 years ago. And it did. Honestly, this was designed a long time ago. And I think it didn't keep up. The design didn't keep up with the current times. And so now it's feeling like the mold is a little old, right? It didn't keep up with the technology and with the pace of masterpieces. And so now you've got this figure. And this isn't cheap, by the way. I bought this for, I want to say 89. I think he's on TF Source for 89, but I'll have to check that. Which isn't cheap. The Torwald one was, I think, 90 also. And it's got to be just as, it's got to be just as good in order to justify that price. And it isn't. It's not just as good. It's a little bit underwhelming, I'll say. Yeah, 90 bucks. I, of course, got this from eBay, from my guy, Baba Bobo. It is available from his site, so the link is in the description down below. You can buy this if you are interested. But my final thoughts, my impression is I believe the Torwald one is better, or the Make Toys one, I think actually also is better than this, just because of the use of the die cast, the quality of the plastic, and the look and the fit and finish is a little bit better. If this was 2 years ago and this was the first Jazz we got, I think it would have been a first good cut at a Jazz. It does have a very nice face sculpt. The Torwald one was never really that good. But that's really about it, is what I can say in terms of being better. This chest is just a little bit too big for me. The legs they're okay, but they don't have the same fit and finish. It doesn't have this metallic finish. This is just a flat gray plastic. No paint on that. There's paint here, which is nice. But overall, I can't recommend this. If you already have Make Toys version of Jazz, or you have the Toy World version of Jazz, or even the Zeta Toys version, which is the same as the Toy World version, those are, in my opinion, better than this. So this isn't gonna really knock your socks off in terms of its ability to outshine Masterpiece. There's another little issue, and I didn't really mention this while I was going through, but it doesn't have very good rear stability, and that's because these feet are very short. They end right here, so you have to balance it. And that was true for this guy. So this is a very strange thing because the car mode is much bigger than the Toy World, but then the robot mode is smaller. So I don't know what goes on there. Like, why? Where did the rest of the robot go? And this one is smaller in car mode, but bigger in robot mode. So it's just a choice of design. I don't think they did it right. The feet don't articulate enough to hit the ground, so a little bit unstable. So yeah, I can't recommend it. For those of you that don't have Toy World or Make Toys and you can't get it, I think these guys are still available. But if you can't get it, this is a good stand-in, but in my opinion, not the Masterpiece that we're looking for. I think Takara is actually going to come out with their own version of this soon once they get the license. Oh boy, I just noticed something else. I don't know. This isn't looking good, but there's some issues with paint right there. So I don't think it was supposed to be painted red inside, but I think they painted this through. So on this one it's a solid red. This one it's half white, half red. On the Toy World one it's actually correct. It's a cutout. And you see the tire, which is what it was for. This is intended as a cooling vent to cool off brakes and tires. And this one is done correctly. You know, it's a metal cutout. It's cut out of, this is a piece of metal, die cast. Here it's plastic and they painted it through. You know, that's just the quality and workmanship that you're getting with this guy. It's just not, it's not up to par. But that's it for this review, guys. I'm going to try to show off some pictures of this on my Facebook page. So if you're interested in seeing a few more pictures, check that out. But thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please post them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.